Just before we get into some what's soon to be classic music and music news, I just would like to be the clock on the wall that just reminds you what time it is. During the time Barack Obama has been in the White House, median household income has fallen by 7.3%. Back in 2007, 19.2% of all American families had a net worth of zero or less. Today, that number is 32%. According to the Federal Reserve, the median net worth of American families dropped $126,000 to $77,000 today. According to Pew Research, 61% of all Americans were middle income back in 1971. Today, only 51% are middle income. Back in 70, middle income Americans brought home 62% of all income into the United States. In 2010, 45%. The unemployment rate has been above 8% now for 42 straight months. The average working age of Americans with a job has been below 59% now for 35 months in a row. The number of Americans added to the food stamps roll was nearly 3 times larger than the number of jobs added to the economy. Approximately 53% of all U.S. college graduates under the age of 25 are either underemployed or unemployed last year. 53%. Since Barack Obama entered the White House, a number of long-term unemployed Americans has risen from 2.7 million to 5.2 million. Today, the average duration of unemployment in the United States is 3 times as long as it was back in 2000. According to a report that has just been released by the National Employment Law Project, 58% of the jobs that have been created since the end of the recession have been low-paying jobs. According to the Center for Economic Policy Research, only 24.6% of all jobs in the United States are now considered good jobs. In 2010, the number of jobs created at by a new business in the United States was less than half than it was in 2000. The average pay for self-employed Americans fell by $3,721. According to U.S. Representative Betty Sutton, America has lost the average of 15 manufacturing facilities over the last 10 years. During 2010, it's much worse. In 2010, the average of 23 manufacturing facilities a day shut down in the United States. At this point, 1 out of every 4 Americans has a job that pays $10 or less an hour. While Barack Obama has been the president, the velocity of money has plunged to a World War II low. According to one recent survey, 85% of middle-class Americans say it's harder to maintain a middle-class standard than compared to 10 years ago. Electricity bills in the United States have risen faster than the overall rate of inflation 5 years in a row. There are now 20.2 million Americans that spend more than half of their income on housing. That represents a 46% increase. Over the past decade, health insurance premiums have risen 3 times faster than your wage. Health insurance costs have risen by 23% since Barack Obama became president. Back in 1980, less than 10% of the U.S. GDP was spent on health care. Now it's 18%. 62% of all middle-class Americans say they have to reduce household spending over the last year. Family budgets in America are being stretched to the breaking point. 77% of all Americans live now paycheck to paycheck at least part of the time. While Barack Obama has been president, the home value of your home has fallen by another 11%. More than 3 times as many new homes were sold in the United States in 2005 and will be sold in 2012. The United States once was ranked number 1 in the world in GDP per capita. We're now number 11. Since Barack Obama became president, the number of Americans living in poverty has risen by 6.4 million Americans. The number of Americans on food stamps has grown from 17 million in the year 2000 to 39.1 million when Barack Obama entered the White House and 46.7 today. Approximately 1/4 of all U.S. children are enrolled in a food stamp program at this point. It's being projected that half of all American children will be on food stamps for at least once until they turn the age of 18. Child homelessness in the United States has risen by 33% since Barack Obama. Obamacare will add 16 million more Americans to the Medicaid rolls. But it's also being projected that the number of Americans on Medicare will grow from 50.7 million to 73.2 million. The number of Americans receiving federal housing assistance has increased 42% with Barack Obama. Well over 100 million Americans are enrolled at least one welfare program, one run by the federal government. That's 1/3 of us. More than half of all Americans are at least now partially financially dependent on the United States government. Half of us.
Yeah, but ask yourself this question.
Ask Osama bin Laden if he is better off now than he was 4 years ago.
Ask that question. Ask him. Is he better off than he was 4 years ago?
I can't ask him. He's dead.
That's... Thank you.
Well, by Osama bin Laden's estimation, he would be probably, right? Because there's the 72 virgins thing going on.
Oh, that's, that's
so
true.
He probably is actually better off.
If I could channel him, he'd probably say, yeah, I'm better off. I died for Allah.
That's what he would say. I don't know.
He might say that.
Others would agree with that analysis.
Right. But I mean, that's you told me to ask him.
Right.
So I'm
we're
projecting what he said.
Perspective.
Yeah, I'm projecting what he might say. Yeah, I'm better off. I died a martyr.
All right.
So that one doesn't work.
Sorry, John.
Sorry.
He's an effective speaker, though, that John Kerry.
John Kerry's a good guy.
It's a surprise he's not still president.
Well, you know who's really good?